Hello, everyone, and welcome to my room. It's been a minute, but, I'm here. And in my continuing review of Beatles U.S. albums, we are now up to the first release. I believe it was the first release in 1965, and it's not reissued on vinyl. And it's Beatles VI. Beatles VI. After the early Beatles, that was the first release of 65. But as far as, quote, new music, Beatles VI was the one. Now, we have the remaining songs from Beatles for Sale: Kansas City, 8 Days a Week, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, Words of Love, What You're Doing, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, and Every Little Thing, with a new song because Capitol was short a tune, so the Beatles recorded a cover of Larry Williams's Bad Boy. And they had early mixes for two songs that were going to be on the Help album, which was George's You Like Me Too Much and Tell Me What You See, as well as what became the flip side in the US to Ticket to Ride, which is the beautiful ballad, Yes It Is. Great song selection. Rather haphazardly thrown together, in my opinion. You begin the album with Kansas City. You follow it with the current hit single in America, which was 8 Days a Week. But you end the album with Every Little Thing. I don't think Every Little Thing is a good album closer. Dizzy Miss Lizzie, actually, to correct myself, was on the UK Help album. And it closed the UK Help album. So why not have it close here on Beatles VI? But again, it was already done and set aside for inclusion in the UK Help album. UK Help album was not completed yet, and I believe there was some additional mixing done. But this, I think, now is where Dave Dexter is kind of running out of ideas here, because I don't think the product is coming as fast as it was in 64. The Beatles are growing. They're progressing. I like the photos on the back cover. This is from the Beatles U.S. Albums CD set. I like the 4 photos here. Kind of typical of what was kind of done on a pop album in the mid-60s in America when you take a look at the albums done by the Byrds and Lovin' Spoonful and even Dylan. Just some beautiful black and white photos on the back. The front cover, very missed opportunity. Now, again, I don't have a vinyl copy of this, but when you have a vinyl copy, all of this space right here, that Beatles VI, the world's most popular foursome, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, which we already know that, and the songs that are on the album, and this partial photo. Growing up, when I would see this album, I never knew what the heck they were doing here. I never knew what the heck that was or what they were doing. Why did they cut out the bottom of the photo? For what you guys don't know, and the photos out there, they're cutting a birthday cake. They are cutting a birthday cake. Why not just include the whole photo, with the exception of all this excess space here? So this is Dave Dexter at the time was championing the cover art in America. He felt that the cover art in America was far superior than what they were doing in England, because by this time, the Beatles were getting frustrated. They started to see what was happening in Capitol, and they didn't even like the artwork. Or one of the compromises they came up with was at least put some of the UK artwork over here. And there's a memo to that that I've seen online where Dave Dexter says as much. So, yeah, this is now kind of a missed opportunity here. I think it could be sequenced better. The songs are the songs. They're good songs no matter what. George is still developing, but I Like You Like Me Too Much. And Tell Me What You See is, maybe not the best Lennon and McCartney tune, but I like that tune. So there's some good songs on here, and there's a bit of the experimentation that was on Beatles for Sale with the additional songs here. But the artwork and the sequencing, it's a bit of a dip. It's a bit of a dip. Don't know why, but it is a bit of a dip. Still a good selection of songs, though. Could be sequenced better. So those are my thoughts. It's a bit of a dip from everything, all the great things Dave Dexter was doing in 1964 to introduce America to the Beatles after reluctantly signing them because I Want to Hold Your Hand was such a great song, and the fact that everybody finally agreed, because he didn't want them at first, doing the incredible releases in 64 that really got the Americans hooked on the Beatles. That's Dave Dexter's greatest genius, in my opinion, is that he knew what to do and how to sell these guys originally. But now it's, I think he's kind of running on empty on this one. But things kind of get better with the two releases that follow in America. Help and the US edition of Rubber Soul. I'll get to those in other videos. But these are some of my thoughts. Give me some of your thoughts too. And I will look forward to you on the next one. See you then.